Are you ready to have your mind blown? Well, I'm serving it up. This is Disorganized Religion. I'm Reverend Cal. Buckle up, because reality is even weirder than me, and I still eat paste. Don't judge. Today, we're going to get all sciencey, and I'm going to begin rebuilding your understanding of the universe. I'm not kidding. I began my life as a man of science. A little origin story. I left the Catholic cult and went on to learn about chemicals and molecules, and I thought I was an atheist because I was able to explain DNA. I had it all figured out. I definitely wanted to sleep in on Sunday, and science could explain everything for me. See, science and religion are related. In fact, there are two different approaches to find the same answer. What is the ultimate truth? What is life and what is existence? And regardless of your belief, there is one right answer. How do you answer these questions is the difference. You could be existential, meaning you answer based on what's around you, your experiences. That's the scientific approach. Or you could be transcendent, which means you look for higher answers. I feel very comfortable saying that being one or the other is a mistake. You should approach it from both directions, and I started out wrong. So I was an atheist because I was arrogant. I understood everything and didn't need spirituality, and that's belief in something greater than yourself. And I had none of that. So it didn't last, though, because I found some wisdom. I never stopped learning, and eventually I realized how stupid I was. Socrates said this best, I know I'm intelligent because I know nothing. So I remember the moment I was an atheist, and I remember when I knew I wasn't. Both times for me were lying in bed, struggling with insomnia. It's a very common theme for me. My atheism ended when I had just learned from a chemist buddy I worked with about Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. So without getting too technical, it says that you can ask exactly where a particle is or its momentum, but you cannot know both. That's the boring part. The weird part is when you entangle two particles, if you try to measure where one is, you can't measure momentum of the other one. So that made no sense to me. It was like the universe saying, you're trying to find a loophole and I won't let you. So Einstein called this stuff spooky action at a distance, and it appears that entangled particles are able to talk to each other instantly across the room or the galaxy. So learning this cured me of atheism because I knew how far away from understanding the universe I was. It was a little bit lonely, but looking back, I understand it was the start of a journey. My point in talking about sciencey stuff today isn't to confuse you. I'm sure I'll do plenty of that without trying. But I want to share the feeling that it hit me like a brick. That there's so much more to life than you can understand. I felt like a fool because I hadn't learned from history. Isaac Newton described the world so perfectly. For centuries, it was able to explain everything on Earth. Newton was so great, it was even able to explain how planets move through the sky. Newtonian physics could explain everything perfectly, well, except Mercury. Didn't work so well for Mercury's orbit. But if we ignore the part that doesn't make sense, then it makes sense. That's arrogant. But just pretend you don't see it. So centuries later, we found out Newton was wrong. Einstein, among others, weren't okay with just ignoring why Mercury's orbit was weird, and as it turns out, it wasn't weird. Newton just didn't understand relativity. This is where physics started to get weird, and it keeps going. Einstein described the universe in a different way, and it was able to explain some of that weirdness. And it was able to explain things like time going faster or slower. Relativity predicted that, and it was confirmed. If you go faster, time goes slower for you. Weird shit. So weirdness gets more and more. So we'll get more into weirdness. But relativity, it fit pretty well with how Newton saw the world. So maybe this little twitch relativity explained everything. So Einstein was hailed as a hero, but now we know that his understanding of the universe was incomplete. In other ways, one place where they both of their understandings of the universe completely fell apart is when things get very, very small. Way, way smaller than we can see them. I'm talking the world of electrons or photons, so really small. This size, just to warn you, almost nothing will make sense. We live in a world where everything is in one place and cause comes before effect. When you get really small, those really aren't rules anymore. Things like light and electrons aren't really in one place. They exist in a cloud or a mixture of everywhere they could be at once. And they only pick a spot when they're forced to. It's a real thing. It's quantum physics. And this is a world where nothing will make sense until you just accept that it won't make sense. Until I explain it to you. This is a world where, based on how you look at something, it can change the path that thing took to get to you. So look this way and it came this way. Look that way and it came a different way. Even if it was 5 years ago. If you get small enough, you can change the past, and this is a real thing. I'm explaining a lot of stuff to you, but I'm going to see how this works in. I'm going to show you how it works in. But the truth is they were all wrong. Einstein and Newton, even Stephen Hawking was not able to explain it, and it became the pursuit of that guy's life. You know, the robot guy in the wheelchair with ALS. Yet, all these people couldn't accurately explain what was going on, yet I was an atheist. All of a sudden, that seemed like a very arrogant conclusion. So I didn't run back and do confession. Maybe I should, though. I only did the confession thing once, and I should just go there and unload like 4 decades of every blasphemous joke I've told. I mean, lots. I could write them down, and I wonder if I could make him laugh. He'd probably give me a couple of laps around the rosary. 40 years of I should record this, dude. Remind me, somebody. Maybe that'll be a thing. I'll do confession, but I digressed. Where was I? I didn't run back to church, but I started down a path. I just tried to understand. Tried to understand the universe and how it all fits together. I'm here to help share what I've learned with you. It's been 20 years since I started, but I can now explain a lot of these things. I came to some of these conclusions years ago and was able to rest my mind, but really only recently has science caught up and started testing some of this stuff, and a lot of the things that I thought are beginning to make a whole lot of sense. It's strange. The way I want to explain the world and the universe doesn't require you to believe in a multiverse or 14 different dimensions either. There is one universe. I don't believe in the multiverse, and my explanation has room to explain this stuff without a multiverse and has room for God. It tends to describe a God we might be familiar with. I would love to be able to explain further, but this is probably a good place for me to pause before I get too deep. It does get a little bit into the weeds, but I'll be back soon to finish this and explain kind of how I mesh science and religion and God together. Should be fun times. Until I'm back, though, don't pretend you know everything. Never stop learning and never stop asking questions, and I look forward to talking to you again.